If you've not tried a bow build in Elden Ring before, I really recommend giving this a go. This build lets you take out enemies before they even know you're there, and there are plenty of new items in the DLC that increase the viability of bows by boosting both their damage and their range. So I'll walk you through my build, then I'll show you where to get the items to make this build for yourself. The bow that I've gone with for this build is the bone bow, and that's been upgraded to 25. This is a brand new bow in Shadow of the Erdtree. The description for this bow reads, a crude short bow fashioned from sickly bone, a medium for spirit calling and a product of the ancient hexing arts of the tower. Now, bows are subjective, everyone's got their favourite types of bow, but I like the bone bow for a few reasons. For starters, it's new and it's always nice to roll with a new weapon you've not tried before, but also it's got a unique skill called Rancor Shot. Rancor Shot grants arrows vengeful spirits that chase down foes through the air. So these arrows basically home in on opponents, and that is incredibly useful. The bone bow has a good mix of speed and damage as opposed to the slower firing giant bows. Its ammo is easier to come across and it scales primarily with strength and dexterity. I'll show you where to find the bone bow later on in the video, but as for ammo, we are using the Stormwing bone arrow because it has the highest physical damage with 58. We also have the Spirit Flame arrow because this does 30 physical damage, 40 magic damage, and also causes frost buildup. Next we have the armor. Now I recommend anything light here, the reason being you want to stay agile. You're not going to be trading attacks with enemies close up, you're going to be firing from distance and moving around, so you don't really want anything too heavy weighing you down. I've gone with this stuff just because, well, I like the look of it. On to talismans, we have the Arrow Soaring Sting talisman, which increases the range of bows and raises their attack power. The Arrow Sting talisman, which raises attack power. Shard of Alexander, which raises attack power of skills, in this case the Rancor Shot, and the Perfumer's talisman, which raises the power of perfumes. And this ties into our items because item wise, I recommend using a Blood Boil Aromatic. This is a perfume that boosts your attack power, and this is itself boosted by the Perfumer's talisman. We also have the Golden Vow. These are consumable items you can craft in the DLC, and these are used to boost your attack and defense, and they consume FP. So consuming both a Golden Vow and a Blood Boil Aromatic before a boss fight is really recommended. Here's our flask. We have the tear that boosts successive attacks and the tear that boosts magic attacks, and that's going to increase the damage done by our Spirit Flame arrows. And as you can see, using the bone bow is pretty simple. Just fire at your enemies from a distance. If you didn't know, you can fire different arrows depending on what button you press. A little beginner's tip to the bow build. So while you're double handing your bow, press RB and you'll fire one type of arrow, and press RT and you'll fire the other type of arrow. To unleash your Rancor Shot, which is basically your homing missiles, double hand your bow, hold LT, then fire off your arrows in quick succession with RT or RB. You can also use LB to zoom in from afar, and there's also a talisman that increases the damage with this as well, called the Sharp Shot talisman. But I don't really recommend that one because the lock-on is non-existent and it is pretty hard to aim your shots. The regular lock-on that you get by clicking in the right stick is more than enough. Now, bows aren't perfect, so I'll tell you a little bit of the downside to this build. The downside is you will have to craft your arrows and they can run out. This is very much a specialist build, but they do have the best range of any weapon in the game, and you can take out enemies before they even know you're there. They are also really fast at firing projectiles, much faster than sorceries and incantations, and that can make up for the less damage they do compared to melee weapons and some of the more powerful sorceries. So here's where to find everything you need for this build. We will start with the bone bow itself, which you can find right here.